Going to close my door here. And begin to feel for what is your baseline breath. So without trying to change a thing, seeing what information can you get by feeling for the sensation of the inhale, the pause at the top of the breath, the exhale, and the pause at the bottom of the breath. And one of the basic breaths that we work with in this practice is what I call a nourishing breath. So learning to soften internally first so that you can take a soft, wide breath, expanding the rib cage side to side, lifting the rib cage away from the top crust of the pelvis, and then exhaling, sensing the bottom of the breath, pulling the belly muscles ever so slightly without causing any constriction, just a gentle emptying out. And in our intent setting today, the invitation here is to choose one relationship that you would like to cultivate and cultivate more patience with. So it could be your own relationship to the long-term practice of yoga. As we heard in the check-in, different relationships to an issue. It could be with a challenging person. So it's pretty flexible in terms of application. Choose one thing that you have that frazzled or just a knowing that you need to dive deeper into patience. And begin to hold that thing into consciousness. And just notice where in your body you get some information in the form of sensation, could be words, images. And just notice, for myself, it's very clear that it's a specific person. So I'm noticing where that shows up in my body. And then invoking the energy of kindness. So thinking of it as you're circulating kindness into the embodied tissue, if you will, the chi flow, the prana flow, the energy flow of this particular focus for your practice. And just seeing where does the energy of kindness go as you inhale, soften so that you can pull in kindness like silk, sending it to wherever those frazzled edges or blank spots or sticky spots. And staying with this soft, wide breath, beginning to place your hands onto the sides of the ribs, maybe into a few places so you can really get a sense of possibly some asymmetries in the rib cage side to side. if it feels useful, doing a little massaging in between the ribs so you can see, am I getting the intercostal muscles to respond to the breath? Exhaling, sensing where you can move out what needs to go. And then holding this movement practice as, sometimes thinking of it as positional therapy, so that you can offer healing movement and shapes to see where the body's intelligence can wake up a little bit more. And in this case, offer more patience that you didn't even know you had. And so we'll come into working with a few more hand positions. So you can place one hand over the other across the front of the chest. You can just, again, take a walk around. So you're doing some embodied anatomy here and just sensing how do the pectorals support the uppermost ribs, the collarbone area. There's a lot of organ stimulation points here. Sometimes we go into it more specifically. We won't today, but just see where you can turn towards this thing that you're dedicating your practice to with more kindness. And then when you're ready, settling your hands either next to each other or one on top of the other. As you inhale, receiving kindness. Exhale, empowering that to create more patience in the place that you're working with, in the relationship you're offering this practice to. And then from here, let's come into some eye exercises. Create some friction with your hands. Try to get some stimulation going in the whole hand, the fingers, and then place your palms over your eyes. Again, you could take a little walk to see where you feel drawn. And then settle your hands over the eyes. Circulating kindness, receiving kindness with your inhale. Letting that move into places on the exhale that increase your patience. And then from there, letting the hands relax down, and we'll do some eye circles. So letting the skull bones stay stacked onto the top of the spine, beginning to look up, and at your own pace, circling around clockwise. When you're ready, close your eyes, take a very full breath in, hold the breath at the top, and then take a full exhale, sort of like popping a balloon out through the mouth, maybe stretching the tongue and the jaw, moving out what needs to go that's in the way of kindness and patience. And then we'll take it counterclockwise, looking all the way up, circling around a few times at your own pace, seeing what arises. When you are ready, close eyes, take a very full, wide breath, pausing at the top, and then exhaling everything out through the mouth. And then from there, taking a feeling breath, and we'll do some diagonals. So looking to the upper right, lower left, going back and forth. So you're stimulating across the midline of the brain with this movement, increasing possible neuroplasticity, brain flexibility, learning capacity. Close eyes, take a very full breath in, pause at the top. Exhale like you're popping a balloon. Feel free to do a lion's breath, full lion, soft lion, stretch the jaw. And we'll take it to the opposite side, looking to upper left, lower right. Go back and forth, sensing where the eyes exist in space, experiencing the you that lives behind your eyes as much as possible. Close eyes, take a very full breath in, pause at the top, exhale fully through the mouth. And then from here, beginning to take some circles with the nose and just get improvising in a way that follows the tissues, particularly in the suboccipitals at the base of the skull. You could let it stay with small circles or let it change into any other shape. Switching directions as it feels interesting. And then from there, closing eyes, coming into feeling the passageway of the eyes as a way to access your inner being. Sensing the vestibular system, the center of balance coming out from the ears. The inner ear is very much related to our centers of balance. And begin to take a look over one shoulder and then the other. You could extend the arms out so you have a focal point of fingers. And then coming back to center. Take a feeling breath and start to come into shoulder shrugs. Let's just start with up and down. And just getting a sense, maybe doing one side at a time so you can see how is the mobility of the shoulder blade. How does the ball and socket joint feel, feeling into all of the information that lives in the shoulders, collarbone area. And then let the shoulders come up on inhale. Squeeze the top tips of shoulder blades and then drag down any amount. Focusing on middle shoulder blades, take an inhale. And then squeeze middle shoulder blades, keep squeezing and then drag down. And then stage 3, targeting lowest part of shoulder blades, inhale. And then squeeze, sometimes bending the elbows can help find the bottom tips of shoulder blades, dragging down any amount. And go through one more round, inhale, shoulders up. Squeezing, focus on stage 1, top tips, drag down. Stage 2, middle shoulder blades. Squeeze and drag down. Stage 3, inhale. And then coming into the bottom tips of shoulder blades, dragging down. Take a feeling breath here. We'll do some seated birding. So you can come into bringing the upper arms next to the ribs with the palms facing up. Stretch across the palms and bring the hands parallel to the floor. So just right here, seeing you're in deep external rotation with the arms, or you're setting up for that, inhale. And then moving the forearms away from each other, hug the elbows in and move the shoulder blades down and really squeeze in there. We'll come into stage 2, round 2, inhale. Exhale, squeeze the elbows in, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. One more, inhale. Exhale, squeeze, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Come on back to center, take a feeling breath, rest the palms. Can continue to see, can you find out how you can patiently open the ribs on inhale and then get completely empty to your degree and capacity so that you can then get the most nutritious next inhale, and seeing how that can increase your capacity for kindness towards what you're working on today. Let's go ahead and come to a seated straddle. So again, we're pretty early on in the practice. To the degree that you are warmed up, so if you have any kind of back funkiness, Go ahead and find out if sitting on a bolster can help you. You can bend knees. You could make the straddle very small. Just see how you can get into what's going on in the legs. And as a person checked in the beginning, sometimes we can skip over a place that we're disembodied and get really used to just skipping. So just see, like, is there a place that might be more available in your consciousness, in your legs and pelvis in this particular shape? Coming into pointing and flexing, maybe alternating, and just seeing how can you give kindness with every breath, and how does that change the quality of your practice? Let's take some clearing breaths here. So take the hands back onto tented fingertips, and then particularly feel if there's any tightness around what you're working with. Can you relax internally through the core, fill all the way up? And then exhale with lion. So sticking out the tongue, stretching the jaw. And then taking a few of these at your own pace, right? Improvising with sound and movement, opening all the way from belly through to the jaw. Feeling into what is showing up as you're working with reaching strongly through both legs, keeping the pelvis grounded. When you're ready, come back to being seated upright, and we'll come into a side bend. So if you like, you can do this against the wall, which will give you information about your lateral flexion. I'm up on a prop, so I might bring my hand also up onto a prop to stay lifted. Lift both sides of the ribs, reaching up and over. And then just see where you can keep both sit bones grounded, pressing down to rise up. You can gaze straight forward. If your neck is tight, you can always just look down. And if it feels, sometimes looking up can bring the energy up. So if it feels okay for your neck, see if you can look up. Perhaps if you have a window, look at the sky. Relaxing internally to fill through the ribs. And then let's come into a chest opener. Take the arms, so you're 45 degrees from the torso. Inhale here. And then on exhale, take the arm back behind the line of the torso. Again, you could look up, forward, or down. See what feels the best. Maybe a little bit of both. See where you might get the breath into another place in the uppermost lobes of the lungs. Bring the arm back in line with the torso. Strong reach through the arm to reach up and to bring the torso up and bring the arm down. Feel into moving energy through the legs. Telescope the ribs, lift the ribs, taking yourself into a side bend on the opposite side. You're gonna wrap the shoulder blade, which means moving the shoulder blade towards the armpit. Keep the hip heavy, rooting down, and then just playing with it. Can you keep the front ribs moving towards the back ribs? At any time, for us kinesthetic learners who learn through touch, you can bring the hand to the side ribs to see, am I getting some movement there? Relaxing the jaw, taking some movement to see, is the jaw softening? Bring the arm 45 degrees away from the torso. Inhale till you're full. Exhale, bring the arm back behind the line of the torso. And then just see, where can you receive through invoking kindness? How does that change how everything might feel, how you might perceive a situation? And then bring the arm back in line with the torso. Strong reach, so you're connecting heart to hand. Come on back up. And then gently bring the legs back. Come into Dandasana, staff pose. So you could stay on a prop or be seated. If you have a block, grab a block. You can do this with or without. Squeezing is a great tool because it engages awareness of mapping your body in space. It helps move stress out of the system in a gentle way. So that's all those squeezy ball, stress ball things. So see where you can grab onto a block or a prop and then soften around it. Active hands, active feet. Inhale. And then as you're ready, squeeze your prop, shoulders down and shoulder blades down. Send the upper arm bones slightly forward. We'll do that again. So this is called unlocking the shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze prop, shoulders down, shoulder blades down, elbow tips slightly forward. And then any amount, if it's interesting and doable, you could lift the elbows up, but don't use the ribs. Keep the ribs steady. Just move the arms. So you can see, I get like an inch of movement, that's fine. And then relax arms down. I'll show this facing the camera, staying in Dandasana with arms in, unlocking the shoulders. Inhale here. Exhale, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. And then this time the forearms can move away from each other any amount. And just see what shows up in the shoulders here. Let the arms relax. Inhale. Take a feeling breath. Let's do one more seated pose before we head to some core work. So we'll come into deer pose. And we'll come into it through Baddha Konasana. Feet together, knees wide. You can stay in Baddha Konasana if the next shape doesn't work for you. Pour the weight onto the right hip and then tuck the left foot back. So you can, I'll show it from the side like so. If it doesn't feel good, stay in Baddha Konasana. And then from here, lifting up through the ribs, coming forward. If you like, you could place 1, 2, 3, or 4 blocks underneath your head. Spread through the toes, press the ground away with the front leg. Feeling into what is your ability to connect into the lower body in external rotation with the front leg, internal rotation with the back. Using this relatively quiet pose to give your head over. And we'll add in a jaw release. So wetting the lips enough that you can slide the lips like you're rubbing in lip balm. Spread through the palms, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Press the ground away to come back up. We'll come through Baddha Konasana, feet together, knees wide. And then taking yourself to the other side. And just sensing what happens in the hips as you're working in this shape. Lift the ribs and then fold forward, perhaps placing a prop underneath your head. Feel what happens in your nervous system when you give that center of balance over the head, over to gravity. Let your brain rest. Give your brain a hug. Sometimes we don't remember that the brain is an organ just like any other organ, and it needs so much compassion, so much kindness. Press the ground away to come up. Come back through Baddha Konasana. Take another breath here. And then grab onto a rolled up blanket or towel. My roll is quite big today, but that will work. You can use a pillow. You can use it for some core work. Once you're down, give yourself a moment, just have your prop ready and use the floor as your prop to see where is your body touching, where is your body coming away from the floor. Like I can tell my shoulders are pronated, rolled forward, my back ribs need some help getting contact. My feet, see where your feet are grounded or disconnected. So using the floor as a comfort, as a tool to connect. Drawing the front ribs in towards the back ribs. When you're ready, you can grab onto your prop and we'll do some pelvic tilts on the back. So again, using the floor as an anchor, inhale across back ribs into side ribs. And then as you exhale, squeeze your prop, lift the pubic bone towards the low ribs and engage the low abs. Release, inhale, focusing on side ribs and back ribs. Exhale, squeeze prop, lift pubic bone, low belly pulls in, feet active. Do a couple more at your own pace. Inhale, massaging kidneys and adrenals. Exhale, squeeze, lift pubic bone, engage low abs. Keep going. And then take a feeling breath. From there, bring the knees up over the hips, bring the shins parallel to the floor, and then roll the thighs in towards your prop. Let the arms relax wherever it helps you stay struggle-free in the shoulders. Inhale across back ribs and side ribs. Exhale, squeeze prop. Tap the heels towards the floor, any amount. It might be an inch, it might tap to the ground. Come right back up. Low belly pulls in. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze, prop, tap heels down and come right back up. Do 3 more at your own pace. Connect into side ribs and back ribs. Squeeze, tapping down, come right back up. And then when you finish your third one, place the prop to the side and either come into feet together, knees wide, or knees together, feet wide. Take a feeling breath. And then from here, go ahead and bring both legs straight up. Get the outer edges of the feet parallel. It's fine to have the knees bent if you have any tension in the back line of the legs. And we'll come into working with some small straddles. So with your inhale, come into a small straddle, and then exhale, bring the legs back to hips width distance. Inhale, make the straddle a bit bigger. See where your legs are. Low belly pulls in, inhale, back ribs and side ribs, small straddle, exhale, come on back. Keep going at your own pace. And then we'll come into some splits. So you can take a pause, bring the legs down if you need, or else come right into it. Take an inhale into side ribs and back ribs. And then on exhale, left leg comes towards you, right leg comes away. Keep the back ribs making contact with the floor, low belly engages. Inhale to feet parallel. Exhale, coming into the opposite, right leg towards you, left leg away. Inhale, feet stay together. Exhale, splits. Inhale, feet together. Exhale, splits. Feel for a low belly pull into spine on exhale. From there, gently place the feet down. Same choice point, knees together, feet wide, or feet together, knees wide. And then from there, we're going to come into elbow to knee with inner legs towards each other or together. So knees over hips, inner legs towards each other or together. Interlace the hands behind the base of the skull, shoulders down, elbow tips reach up. Inhale, cross back ribs and side ribs, squeeze inner legs, lift the tailbone up, and then on exhale, both elbows reach to the right, straighten through the left leg. If your back is sensitive, you could reach straight up. Low belly pulls in. Inhale through center. Squeeze inner legs together. Reach the tailbone up. And then on exhale, both elbows reach left, straighten through the right leg. Move the thigh bone away from the pelvis. Pull the low belly in. Option to reach straight up. Inhale. Squeeze inner legs. Curl the tailbone up. And then exhale, both elbows reach right, straighten through the left leg. Low belly pulls in. Inhale, bend both knees, squeeze inner legs, curl the tailbone up, exhaling, elbows reach left, straighten through the right leg, low belly pulls in. Inhale through center, squeeze inner legs, curl the tailbone, exhaling, elbows reach right, straighten through the left leg, low belly pulls in. Inhale, bend both knees, squeeze, Curl tailbone left side here. Exhale, elbows reach left, straighten through the right leg. Low belly pulls in. And then come on back to center. Feet down, take a feeling breath here. And we'll come into bridge pose. So feet can be underneath knees. Sometimes scooting the feet a little bit forward can give more space in the hips. So you can try that. Relax the arms, inhale. Exhale, press the ground away, lift the hips. And then use this as a way to check in with your intent. Can you find a quality of kindness with the way that you're breathing in and around your heart? And just normalizing, it takes time to get that access to your heart. So if it feels blank, if it feels any other way that then you quote unquote think it should, having patience with your process. And we'll come into one round of Uddiyana here, relaxing internally, fill all the way up with the breath. Exhale everything out. Keep the breath out, pull the belly back, lower down. Relax the belly, inhale. And then just feel into what you're working on, receiving kindness with your inhale, receiving that invocation of kindness, letting it move throughout every cell in your body. On exhale. And then come on back up. Tabletop. In your tabletop, finding out where you can get a sense, almost like you're making handprints into fresh soil, press into the tops of the shins. And then from here, becoming aware of the sit bones. We're gonna keep using that as a landmark for what we're working with. So knees can come a little bit wider. Take an inhale here and then move the sit bones towards the heels. Take the left ear to the left shoulder. Inhale, come back through center. Move the sit bones to the heels. Take the ear to the shoulder. And then find your own rhythm. If it feels clunky, make it smaller. Sensing the sit bones moving through space. Connecting the top of the spine to the bottom of the spine. And then when you're ready, take your sit bones back into child's pose. You can get support, placing a bolster behind the knees or any other adaptations. Come to tented fingertips. You can sort of squeeze towards each other to see how that shows up in the armpits. Getting a sense, one back healing move for me has been to think about moving my sit bones away from each other, which is a subtle cue, but it somehow stabilizes a sacral tweaky place for me, so you might want to try that. And then take your time walking yourself over to one side. Play with flattening the hands. Draw the front ribs in towards the back ribs to get into the side body. Come back through center, over to the other side. And then come on back to center. Take another feeling breath here, using this quality of patience to inform this child's pose. Deep breathing. Come back through your center, tabletop. Keep a strong press the ground away. And then from there, bringing the heel towards the ceiling, contracting at the sit bone muscles here, pulsing the heel to help you find that area. And then taking any movements here that give you information about the hip, taking some circles. Extend the leg back like you're kicking a wall behind you. You could actually kick a wall, and then press the top of the foot down. And then glide the top of the foot back. So you're just getting awareness, kick, dorsal flexion,
Plantar flexion, point the toe, put the top of the foot down, drag it back. Let's take that to the other side. So strong reach with the heel towards the ceiling, contract the low glute, kicking towards the ceiling with the heel. And then from there, taking it on the road. It could be small, 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 taking some internal movement, rolling the thigh in, rolling it out. And then from there, kick, move the thigh bone, turn on the glutes, top of the foot comes down, slide it in. Kick back, top of the foot down, slide.
Do that a few more times at your own convenience.
And then from there, come back to tabletop. Let's come into dolphin. So elbows come down. Grab onto the triceps. So you're really getting that elbow under shoulder alignment, clasp hands. And then press the ground away. Resist. Press, press, press. Let the head go. And then curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back. Feel free to keep the knees very bent if it helps you stay in contact with the torso. Keep breathing. Draw the front ribs towards the back ribs, and then use the lowest abs to lift the hips like you're going to sit the sit bones on the ceiling. Feel free to try that movement of widening sit bones away from each other. If it's interesting to you, you could do lifting a leg, few breaths each side. Either letting the head go completely looking towards the navel or letting your gaze be straight to the mat. Gently place the knees down and come into embryo. So arms rest by the torso. And feel for where do you feel drawn in this particular shape? Breathing into back of heart, perhaps hips, low back. Come through your tabletop. And we'll come into downward facing dog. Hands come forward, about a hand's width distance. Curl the toes under and then sense what shows up as you begin to come into this shape. Option to use that cue here as well. Widening sit bones away from each other. Come into forward fold, walking the hands towards the feet. Hands could be on blocks, interlaced around the neck, giving the neck a squeeze, or holding inner elbows. When you're ready, take the thumbs, press into the head of the thigh bone, engage the low abs, and then come up with a flat back. And then feel for taking everything you just did to get to your first Tadasana. And then get grounded. Feel your feet. You can sort of grab on, sort of like a mini version of the foot exercises we sometimes do. Get into your heels. Get into the base of the big toe, pinky toe. And then find your hip points, front hip point and back. Find your sit bones. Come into your imaginary ball. Lift your imaginary ball. Staying here to breathe into shoulders, chest, upper back. Bring hands to touch. Inhale, sweep up. Open chest and shoulders, finding a quality of salutation and bowing, forward fold. Inhale, left leg steps back, lunge. Untuck the toes and then play with it a bit. You can come from your 90-degree angles, forward and back. And then find a sweet spot where you're creating some activation of these large muscles and keeping your joints stable, keeping your pelvis stable. Stay here. You can reach the arms up and come into brain cradling, wrap around base of skull bones. Feeling into how you're working the whole body in your lunge. From there, let's come into a twist. Back the hips up. Bring the hands into this home base press. Press the hands so that it brings you into the back body, lats, front body, and then Take it into either opening the arms or taking the elbow outside the thigh. If that front hip wants to scoot with you, take it back. And then feel into really seeing where you can stay in feeling. Lowering the top arm, stepping yourself back into plank, knees up or knees down. Holding your plank for a bit, feel where the rib cage is. Shoulders away from ears, lowering down, press the ground away. Reach back, and then hands under shoulders, peel the ribs forward, away from the top crest of the pelvis. Reach through the legs, lower down. Hands under shoulders, press back through, downward facing dog. From here, left leg is coming forward, lunge. And again, play with it, coming forward and back. Press into both feet. Zip the pubic bone up, which will help me find my quads much more. And then see where you can stay. Sweep up. Find the opposite interlace from the first side. Wrapping shoulder blades towards armpits, brain cradling. Lift the skull bones away from the top of the spine. Receiving kindness. If you are in a place where it's sunny and breezy out, taking in what is basically good in this moment to every cell. And then back the hips up. Twist, press the ground away, lift the ribs. Cone waist press, come forward, either opening the palms or taking the elbow outside the thigh or on the thigh. Also, you can hold on to the hips to see, am I aware of where my pelvis is in space? Leaning back. Unwind your twist, come up to the top of the mat. And then come up with a flat back. Engage the low abs. Feel yourself come through that L shape, like down dog. Lift ribs. Open chest and shoulders, hands come to touch. Take a feeling breath here, and then we'll come right into a warrior two stance. Come wide. Starting off with feet parallel. And just take a few breaths in the setup itself. Feel how that starts to turn on that warrior energy. Finding that quality and sending it to where you need that ability. Pivot the left toes forward, bend into your warrior two. Front heel to back arch. You can pick up the right heel and spin it out. And then once you're there, hold on to the hips. Lift the ribs, and we'll revisit from the warm-up, unlocking the shoulders, elbows up, spread through the palms. Inhale, exhale, shoulders down, shoulder blades down, elbow tips reach forward, and then widen the forearms away from each other. So it's sort of like a V shape, but the elbows stay right in front of shoulder. Keep breathing. And then let the arms come down, take a feeling breath here. Press again, lift ribs, come forward. Head to ankle prep, hand goes to the inner thigh. Take a walk around to see what's the quality of the tissue here, what's the quality of the joint. Right hand could be on a block or the floor. Begin to press down and away on the inner thigh. Move the torso towards the right. Let the head go, either gazing towards the floor or towards the navel. Kick through both legs. Give your legs breath support. And then we'll come into lizard. So walking both hands inside the front foot, pivot onto the ball of the right foot and kick through that leg. If you're near a wall, you can use a wall. Press the ground away. And then press the inner right leg to the outer right shoulder or arm. Excuse me, I meant to say left, whichever is the foot forward. Give yourself breath support, playing with, coming a little lower and backing up. lengthening the spine forward. And then from there, straighten the front leg, bring the torso up, come back to upward facing wide stance to reset. And then pivot the right toes forward, warrior two. Pick up the left heel and spin it out if you have that range. Reaching out through both arms and then coming into unlocking the shoulders, elbows up. Big breath in, exhale, shoulders down, shoulder blades down. Just like when you set up for dolphin, send the arm bones forward. And then check in with your jaw, check in with your eyes, bring the forearms away from each other, making this V shape. So we're triggering serratus anterior to engage, lats to engage, a lot of respiratory support muscles. Give that work the support of your strong legs. Bring the arms back down. Press down onto the crest of the hips, feeling into those hip points that we're always tracking, front hip point, back hip point, lift ribs. Come forward, hand to inner thigh, left hand forward on a block or the floor, pressing down and away. So you're teasing out space in the hip. Move the torso to the left. Kick through both legs. Relax the neck. And then walk both hands inside the front foot. Lizard, come onto the ball of the back foot. Kick through that leg. Turn on the glutes. Use the hamstring strength. Hug the inner right leg to the outer right arm. And then play with coming in and out of it to find your sweet spot of challenge without stressing your breathing capacity. And then from there, straighten the front leg, bring yourself up to stand. Reset, upward facing wide stance. Coming to hands on hips, toes face forward. Either keeping the hands on the hips or using a strap or connecting the hands. Getting into the front of the neck, the scalenes that wrap around the side of the neck, all the way into where you need breath support in the upper chest. And then from there, we're going to come into flank stretch. Hold on to the hips. Lift ribs, come forward. Walk both hands over to the right. Few options, hands on blocks, grabbing onto the lower leg, reaching the left elbow towards the floor, moving the left ribs to the left. And then coming back through center, other side. Same choices, grabbing the leg, hands on blocks, moving the ribs, right ribs to the right. And then coming back through center, actively reach through both legs, come on up to stand. Heel toe the feet back together, or step the feet back together. Give yourself breath support. And then from here, we'll come into working on some balancing. So you can use a block to just make it a little more interesting. So I'll use a block for just a visual aid, but you can do this on the ground too. So right leg, outer edge of the foot parallel to the outer edge of the mat. So there's a slight internal rotation. And begin to play with that home base press. Press the hands together and see how that engages the upper body. And first just start to play with waking up the calf muscle with the foot. So you can press the inner ankle to the calf. Maybe stay right there. Prioritize pelvic stability. Foot to inner calf. Maybe it goes above the knee, but prioritizing awareness of your legs and pelvic stability. Choosing any arm position, so maybe you interlace and reach up, let the arms
Reach out, feeling for all of these micro adjustments that your structure is making to keep you in this shape, right? And then from there, bring yourself to the other side. Take a moment, take a feeling breath. And again, standing strong, root into that leg. Get the outer edge of the foot parallel to the long edge of the mat. Home base press. Pressing inner ankle to calf and calf to inner ankle. Choose where you're going to put your attention here, noticing what shows up. Foot can be above or below. Keeping pelvic stability is the priority. And release. So you can find yourself a wall. If you don't have a wall, you could do this without. It'll be a little more challenging. It'll be a lot more challenging, actually. We're going to do chair at the wall. So find your wall, find your roll, grab onto it, and you can choose the amount of spice by choosing how low you go. So again, outer edges of the feet parallel, come on down. Give your prop a squeeze, kick into your feet, and begin to feel your legs and pelvis. And then from here, let's do some arm glides. So arms out by torso. Feel for back ribs, moving towards the wall or contacting the wall. Inhale. Exhale, glide the arms out and up. Belly to spine. Inhale, arms by torso. Exhale, squeeze prop, arms glide out and up. Belly to spine. Inhale. Exhale, arms glide out and up. Pubic bone lifts, squeeze prop. And then keep going at your own pace here. Feeling the conversation between upper body and lower body work. You could grab props here. That's a great way to work this. When you're ready, straighten the legs, come up to stand. And we'll come into chest opener at the wall. So again, option to do this with no wall, totally works. Let's do left leg forward, step the right leg back, bend into the front knee. So you're creating like a mini warrior one. Walk that front, the arm that's closest to the wall back. You can keep a bend in the elbow. Feel for a stretch in the pecs, in the front of the shoulder, and then find your kindness. Invoking kindness with your inhale. Maybe you bring the hand to the chest. Shoulder down, shoulder blade down. And then we'll walk through a few of those activations we've been working with. Press the hand in the wall like you're making a handprint in soil. Pull forward. See what shows up. Let that go. Option to try this gently if it's new to you. Hold on to the sternum, inhale. Exhale, pull the connective tissue from the chest to the center of the room. So you're stretching the pecs. Look up, softening skull bones. Use your feet. Letting that go. Straighten the front leg. Glide the arm down, step. Take that to the other side. From mountain pose. Step V. The leg that's closest to the wall steps back, so you're in warrior one. That's not true. The leg that's closest to the front of the room, the middle of the room, so left leg back. Right leg walks. Oh my goodness. Right arm walks back, bend the elbow. Take the arm to the upper chest. Kick through the back leg. And then from here, press into that hand, pull forward, see what shows up. Exhale completely. And then from there, hold on to the sternum, take a big breath in, pull towards the center of the room. Keep pressing the hand into the wall. And then from there, straighten the front leg, slide the arm down. take a feeling breath, find your way onto the back. And then checking in with yourself, either coming right into Shavasana or taking any other movements that would complete your practice. Holding your intention in consciousness, this relationship that you're building your kindness reserve so that you have more patience, and then turning it over to love, to higher power, however you would define that truth that is what we are embodying in yoga. And let yourself be held in that truth. Beginning to open your awareness to the furthest reaches of the universe, receiving kindness as you inhale. Exhale, sending kindness into every place in your psyche, in your body, that can help you with this relationship that you've offered this practice to. Giving your nervous system and your brain a hug. Taking the support of this now 4-year-old community of practice to keep going. Taking yourself onto one side as you're ready. Keeping yourself in awareness of your body and space as you press into the ground, your home, to come back up. And then sealing our time, if you like, bringing one hand to belly, one hand to heart, and taking a breath together to seal our time. And if you have some extra today, sending that kindness to those who could use it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karuna.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so
Beautiful
much.
class.
My pleasure.